Hello, y'all like pumpkin pie? It's October, so it's time for a pumpkin pie, ain't it? So that's what I'm gonna make. We're gonna use the Libby's recipe. Famous pumpkin pie from Libby's is what we're gonna use. But we gotta have a pie shell before we put our pumpkin and stuff in it. So let's make that right quick, and then we'll put the pumpkin and the evaporated milk and the spices and eggs and sugar, and we'll make a pumpkin pie. So let me do this little part. I mixed up the dough, but now I've got to roll it out. I do like making my own pie shells. You can buy them and they're just as good, but this is more frugal and economical, wouldn't you think? Get that. I've got my oven preheating to 425. That's what we're going to start at. We'll bake it at that high temperature for a little while, and then we'll turn the temperature down. Let me get this. Better pay attention to what I'm doing here. Is that big enough? Let me test it. I think that's going to work. I think. So let me get it picked up and put in there. Now I want to tear it, but I want to move it over, get it centered in there. I'm going to put a little bit right there. I didn't get it quite round enough. Put a little bit more right there. There's not a whole lot of extra, so I'm just gonna fold it all under. Not gonna be the prettiest pie, but it's gonna be okay. This part's going to be harder than making the filling that we're going to put in this pie. Now that's not beautiful, but I'm going to do that. Let me go around it here. I'm almost around it. And I'm just taking my fingers and doing that right there to make that. So now, we can live with that, can't we? Now we're going to set that right there. Now, I need this bowl. Whoop. And I said we're going to use this recipe on the famous pumpkin pie, Libby's pumpkin, but I'm going to cheat. And I'm going to use this can of pumpkin, which is not Libby's, because it's just a little bit older. Let me see. And you know, it calls for about the same thing, only they put nutmeg in it and this one don't. So that's what we're going to do there. But first we'll put them eggs in there. Let me get me a whisk. 2 eggs. And I've got 3/4 of a cup of sugar here, and we got to put cinnamon and ginger and cloves in there. So let's get that. That was a big jar of cinnamon, and I've already used a lot of it, hadn't I? There's a teaspoon of cinnamon. We're going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, ground ginger. And you know, I'm trying to decide if I want to get my nutmeg and put nutmeg in it, and I probably do. This is ground cloves. Now, ground cloves are really strong. And one time when my little granddaughter, who's 4 now, when she was little, she was playing here in the kitchen, and I would let her play with stuff like this because it's a little plastic bottle. And I opened it one day, and I said, "Here, Millie, take a smell of it." And she got too big of a whiff, and her little eyes went to watering. It was kind of sad. But then after that, every time that I would even act like I was going to let her smell that, her eyes would go to watering. Bless her little heart. But she likes to do in the kitchen with me. But it's just hard to cook when I've got her and her little younger sister that's 2. It's hard to cook with them. My sugar's got a few little lumps. But anyway, there's my 2 eggs. Here's my sugar. Now I'm going to open this can and put it in there. And the top of that can's dusty, so I'm going to wipe that off. It's been on the pantry shelf a while, and I told you it was older than the Libby cans. The reason I'm going to use this one. Oh, the oven's ready. Let me open. And I have a manual can opener. One of them I had a few days ago quit working on me, and I had this one as my spare, but I had to bring out my spare. So you know what? I need to get another spare is what I need to do. Well, there's our pumpkin. Well, I just use this spatula. I'll get it out. There's all the pumpkin now. Let me see, I'll lay that right there. Let's mix that up just a little bit. Now we've got to open this evaporated milk. Got to do it Rita's way. I'm going to shake it up. It's been down on the pantry shelf for a while too. And I bet y'all thought that I had forgot the nutmeg. Well, I didn't. If it's right here close, where's that nutmeg? Well, there it is. Did y'all see all that mess up there in my cabinet? Okay, I am gonna put a little nutmeg. I don't know how. Let's put how much? We'll put half a teaspoon. Okay. So see, I did add that. Even though the Libby's didn't call for it, this one did. Kind of like pumpkin spice, ain't it? Now let's get this. And I'm just going to open it with my can opener. Be careful with that. And I'm going to pour it in there. I'm going to pour a little bit and mix it up, and then I put a little bit more. A little at a time. My son's favorite pie is pumpkin. So he'll get part of this. I'll keep some of it for me and Terry, but Justin will get the most part of it. And that's my little granddaughter's daddy. Justin is her daddy. We get that all mixed up. My oven's 425, and our Libby's can says 425 for 15 minutes, reduce temperature to 350, and bake for 30 to 45 more minutes. All right, let me move some of this stuff. I'm going to set it over here in the sink. I've got me some hot soapy water over there. Now, I'm going to bake it on this sheet. I've used this thing for years. It's kind of, the pie panel set up there on it. I should have kept that spatula. I needed that spatula. I was getting ahead of myself. Well, I'll just get another one. Since I love to wash dishes so well. Not, but anyway. I don't want to leave any in there. We want all of that. Now, there's that. And now, I've got this little shield. You can see. And I'm going to put it right there. And it'll keep that edge of the crust from burning. Now, I'm going to have to be real careful to go there and put it in the oven. So, but that's what I'm going to do. I'll be back in a little while. It'll be an hour or so before I get it out of the oven. So, in a bit, I'll be back. Well, I put that pumpkin pie in the oven, but I've still got this stuff left over. And so, this pumpkin pie, when I make this pie dough, it makes enough for a couple of pies. So I've got this left over. So I'm going to make a bonus pie, and I'm going to do this cherry one. Or it might be a pie. It'd be more like a cobbler, I guess you could say. But cherry happens to be my husband, Mr. Terry. That's his favorite. So we'll do this for him. And it won't be fancy, but it'll be good. Everything don't have to be fancy, does it? And that way I'll have all those ingredients used up, and I'll have some of these cans. This one here is almost expired too. Well, actually it is. It is expired, but I'm going to use it. I don't know what y'all do about stuff like that, but if I notice them and I think they're still good, I'm going to use it. But I'm going to use this little pan here for my little cherry cobbler for my husband. This is everyday eating. I put him on a pot of brown beans this morning. They won't be done, so I hadn't made any cornbread. And this, if I was going to make a whole pie, it would take like 2 of these cans. So 1 can will be okay. And I don't have access to cherries, so I don't can cherry pie filling. Now let's just, this is going to be good too. If you was here, which one would you want? And I'll ask you that question again when I take them out of the oven maybe and show you when they're finished. I'll say, which one do you want? Do you want a piece of cherry cobbler, or do you a dollop of cherry cobbler, or do you want the pumpkin pie? Just got to save Terry some of the cherry and Justin some of the pumpkin. Now let's put our little top on there. Oh, I dropped some. Clean that up. I'm a little bit of a messy cook. That's a little bit tart. Let me see. I don't think I'm going to cut it. I think I'm just going to make it in the shape that'll kind of go over the top of it. Not going to do anything fancy to it. Do you have to have fancy? We're not going to find that in my kitchen. That's all I'm going to do. And I'm going to put it in the oven. Should I put, it doesn't need it. It doesn't have to have it, but just to kind of make it prettier, I'm just going to put that. And I could put a little bit of sugar on it if I wanted to, but I don't have to do that either. That's all I'm going to do. So there's my bonus pie. And I used up all my pie dough that I made. Okay, I'm going to clean up this mess while these things are going to bake in the oven. So I will be back and show you later. Well, here's our Libby's pumpkin pie, and here's our bonus little cherry cobbler, and I want you to look. I've done gave my husband some of it. He's done had some, and now we're going to cut this pie, though. Does it need Cool Whip? What do you think? You think it needs some Cool Whip? Terry, you think it needs Cool Whip?
I wouldn't ruin good pie.
I'm just going to get just a little sliver. Let's see if it'll come out of here. I thought my knife was clean the first time I stuck it in there. I don't know. Looky there. There's my pumpkin pie. I can eat a little piece. I believe I can. I believe I can. Still just a little warm, not hot. It's good. I would share with you guys if you're here. It's good pie. It's been a few days since I made a pumpkin pie. But that's the way I make my pies, my pumpkin pies. I'll see y'all later. Try to get pie for, be practicing before Thanksgiving.